So here's one of the laziest jobs I've ever found. You know, I bought this house. It was a flip. And over the past year that I've owned it, I've noticed all these plants. They're growing in the basement. And I just kept pulling them out. You know, I've never thought anything of it. Eventually, you know, I have all these random holes in my basement. And I bought some concrete. I was just going to go fill them in, and hopefully that would be the end of it. So I get over here, and I'm vacuuming. I'm vacuuming the area out. It was just one little hole right here. And pieces of concrete floor are just like flying up. And I've noticed that the concrete floor, it's very thin. In some parts it's not even this thick. This is about an inch. Some parts it's maybe a quarter of an inch thick. And there's all these roots underneath it. So I don't know what was going on here. This is a really old house. It's a 1920. So this must have had a dirt floor prior to being flipped. And they just came and just poured this tiny thin little layer of concrete over the whole thing. And we got, you know, plants growing down here. It's kind of a complete disaster. So unfortunately, I think we found ourselves pretty much a disaster scene, but there's no way I'm not replacing this entire floor. So you can tell, like, all around here, it's super thin. There's holes. This is basically what I started out with, and there was plants sprouting from it. I'm sure this is all the exact same story. You can just hear it. It's all just super thin. It's basically just a disaster. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and trench this out, and then I've been vacuuming up the dirt. I mean, I don't know. I just found this out. This is craziness. So I'm vacuuming up the dirt, but the problem is, I mean, it just keeps going and going, and I don't really want to deal with this right now. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try and vacuum up a decent amount of dirt and just fill this one spot and fill all the remaining little holes. But I mean, this may be a long-term disaster where eventually we're gonna need an entire new floor. I mean, the entire floor is just about an inch thick, and I mean, this is a big basement. If you look over there, so that's a bit of a disaster. Yeah, it's just this. Feels like you're tapping on a watermelon. I mean, you know, must have been what the guy's head sounded like that did this in the first place. So what a disaster. All right, let's get this vacuumed up, and we're gonna try to fill this in just a little bit. I mean, we'll see where we can go with it. I mean, it's a disaster. All right, so that's all vacuumed out. It's maybe 2 inches deep. I'm not going any deeper than that because eventually, you know, it may need to have more work done. But this is what I started with. I mean, if you look, if you just tap it, the entire thing moves. So I'm trying to enlarge this space so I can have a little place to pour. But like I said, I'm just trying to do like a patch job and hopefully stop it from spreading. I mean, if you go under here, it's just emptiness. So that's going to cause some issues in the future. I mean, watch. You know, you shouldn't be able to do that to your basement floor. It's a disaster. And that's basically how it is everywhere. But definitely the corners are the weakest. And I think that's because all these roots. It's weird. We're maybe 5 feet underground, and all these roots are down here, which I'm not really sure why. You know, I don't really know much about plants. So, I mean, the roots are down here regardless. All right, so I ended up having to take out this entire area. I mean, look at this, just laziness. No reinforcement of any type. You can just peel. Watch, I can probably just get this up with my hand. There we go. I mean, what is that? What is that going to do for me? We got roots growing underneath. It's all cracking apart. I think I'm going to have to, maybe I could put some salt down, and that would stop the roots from spreading. That's my only thought, because basically I'm just trying to do a short-term fix where I can walk on it without it cracking and having trees and stuff growing in my basement. So I'm going to dig this down a little bit. I'm going to pour a layer of salt, and then I'm just going to pour some concrete over it. And I'm going to stop there. I mean, it does get a little bit stronger right here, where it's not, you know, it's not totally decaying like it was. This was the main area where there was just holes and trees popping up, which is ridiculous. All right, my shop vac stopped working. Let's see what we got. Oh my God. It's just full of dirt. I mean, obviously it's full of dirt. I've been vacuuming the dirt. I didn't want to dig and like put it somewhere. I'm probably destroying my vacuum, but it's just funny. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, it was basically just, it was up to here, and it wasn't even concrete. It's just like a mortar with no rocks, and then obviously no rebar. So I don't know what was expected. When I moved in, it looked perfect, but over just a short year, it decayed into nothing. So like I said, I'm just gonna get it nice and smooth, probably that deep, 2 inches. We're just gonna do a little pour, and then that should hold up for at least a little while until I can decide what to do. I need to be able to walk down here. I mean, look at that. Gary, look at this. Look at this nonsense. Gary, come here. This is his hangout area. He doesn't even know what's happening. What is this? Look at all this. This is what they did when they were working on this house. They was doing a bad job, Gary. They were doing a lazy job. Now we're down here doing a construction zone in your hangout area. It's a shame. I thought I had some rock salt, but I don't. So I'm just gonna use this. I mean, this is kind of stupid, but I mean, this was only $1, so it should cover the whole area. There we go. I don't know. I mean, how good is that gonna be? I don't know, but there's been plants sprouting over the past year that I've lived here, and I just kind of kept pulling them out. I was like, yeah, whatever, but now I know why. It's because they're just breaking right through this little concrete. So there we go. I mean, it's better than nothing. Now if we drive our cars down here, they're gonna rust. Doesn't make any sense. All right, this is hard to film, but here we go. We got a little pour. Oh my God. I just went and bought a bag because originally I just wanted to fill like this tiny little hole, and then I found this. This probably isn't even gonna be enough. This is a disaster, man. I actually have no experience in concrete, but I mean, I understand how it works. But I mean, this wasn't my plan. I was just planning on filling like a tiny, there was like a bunch of little holes like that. I was just gonna put some concrete in and just kind of hope that maybe it would do something. But here we are now. We got this disaster on our hands, and he's involved. He wants to know what we're doing down in his man cave. Oh, Gary, I wish you should handle this. I mean, this is your cave. You should be handling this nonsense. Okay, so it looks like I'm gonna need more concrete. I just wasn't expecting to need this much because, like I said, I was just trying to fill those couple little holes. But I do gotta say, I mean, it looks weird because it's 2 different colors, but it's super flat. I mean, for my first job, I probably gotta get something in there though, or it's gonna continue. So that's gonna be annoying. But yeah, it's super flat, so I'm gonna let it dry. And then this floor is painted. That's the new paint, so I'm just gonna obviously paint over that. It should be fine. And I'm just gonna kind of go in the corner of that area where there's more sprouting out. I'm not gonna do the whole dig down thing because it's not going crazy decaying over there, at least not yet. So hopefully it'll all stop with the salt. We'll see though. I may need to rip up more of this, but I really don't want to, at least not for a while. So that's what we ended up with. I'm gonna go grab some more concrete, finish it off. But yeah, I mean, just a disaster. I mean, I don't know. Don't be lazy when you're making concrete slabs. I mean, this is a huge concrete floor. You can see over by the water meter, it's decaying like crazy. It's the same situation over there. It's this inch thick stuff. And it's only going to spread and decay and erode more and more as the time goes on. And eventually this basement, it'll just be like a big rock pile. So maybe that'll just have to be what happens. I don't know. But we're going to try and save it. We'll see.